Yep, welcome back to the Dugout and Beyond. So, been doing a lot of sports updates lately, so I'm decided to go back a little bit to the shows and movies. So we got in this one I've also watched a couple of times. This is again basically spoiler alerts, but also the show has been out for quite a while. We got Arrested Development here. We got who has had a lot of actual famous actors in it. For example, we have George Bluth is the dad, or the second dad, who's one of the main characters, aka Jason Bateman, who's also in a number of different shows and movies. Most recently, he's been in Ozark, basically the main character, producer, director, I think writer for some of it. We got Michael Cera, who has been in Superbad. That was one of his major roles, and then we have Winkler, Henry Winkler, who was this is also a major not really spoiler because again these shows have been out for a while. Happy Days, which was made in like the 1950s, 60s, or something like that. And also I just realized that the commentator for the narrator, and also he starred in the show, Ron Howard, was also in Happy Days as like one of the friends of Fonz. So this show actually has more than I thought, just me looking up more facts about this. Yeah, and also the sister in the show, Lindsay, is also married to Ellen DeGeneres in real life. So yeah, that's some more little quick facts about this. But also starting off with number one here, it's Tobias and George Bluth. So the brother-in-law and the dad of the owner of the Bluth Company, who is in jail for basically the entire show. They were actually not supposed to be such big roles until they were like having them talk and do that. With then the directors were like, hey, we need them to have meatier roles and have them be on camera more, because of course you want your good actors to be on the show more. Second, we have, so this show is basically filmed in Southern California. It looks like more like LA area, kind of like maybe a little bit lower, like Long Beach area, which is like 45 minutes away from like downtown LA. So they're within about 2.5-3 hours of Mexico. So I'm sure that it didn't really take a crazy long time for them to get down there, which I did, and I went like in the morning from LA to San Diego, and it took, actually, I was hearing about 3 hours, which was still not horrible, but it took like 1 hour and 45. Basically, I guess because it was like a week. It was a weekend in the morning, so it was actually pretty easy. But we actually had to get a possible stand-in for Michael Cera, who is George Bluth Jr. And I guess he was getting like deported basically back to Mexico because of his work visa or work permit, which I don't think it took a long time for them to actually get him back, because as an actor in such a big show, they probably were able to ramp it up, like, hey, like, we need to get this going, just we'll do anything. They probably did anything that they needed to get him back in. Yeah, so, and then this one is a little different. There's like a weird little part of the show where Michael went to a little place. I don't even know. I think it was just a weird little town. Like, they just created another town. It was like Little Britain, like New Britain or something like that. Little Britain, little England, where everyone was English, aka from Britain. Yes, people think that English is part of America, but it's really not. It's England, because that's where the language is really from. Yeah, there's a person, a lady called Rita, who was mentally disabled, and they didn't realize it for a while, and then they realized that she was like rich and stuff, so they try to have Michael completely go out with her and marry her to get the money. But she had apparently like get bigger for this role and like eating wise, but I don't know, that one is a little weird. Apparently she was doing another role. So this is the one with the Happy Days with Henry Winkler, aka the Fonz. One of a great show. If you're sitting with your parents, I only know that because I've seen episodes before. Maybe 5 before my life. But yeah, if you're sitting with your parents who are like middle-aged to a little bit older, like 70s, 80s, even grandparents, if you're sitting with them, they'll probably most likely know Happy Days and the Fonz. Very popular show back then. Yeah, they had to get so he was the lawyer in the show, aka Barry Zuckerhorn. And they thought he was getting a little bit too old for the role, so they had to recast the role basically for a new guy, and it came out to be the guy called Bob Loblaw. Bob Loblaw. It was. I'm impressed how, like, when they were doing it, they probably did 50 takes every time, because that's just a very funny name. The first time I heard it, I was cracking up. Yeah, they had to basically recast the role for a younger guy to actually be the lawyer. And then next one we again have Ron Howard, who was one of the other guys in Happy Days, was first the narrator, and then he also has a role in the actual show. He actually comes on screen. And it says here Ron Howard was only supposed to be the show's narrator for the pilot. It got to the last minute, and no one has been cast as narrator. So he filled the slot, and he fit so well that he narrated for 5 more seasons, which is pretty awesome. And you do such a good job, and you don't really cast anyone. They probably forgot because they're like, oh well, we have Ron Howard. That was probably the situation. The Banana Stand was based on the creator's childhood business. And there's money in the banana stand. The blue banana stand is one of the most memorable parts of the series. He created it as because based on the chocolate chip cookie stand he set up with his brother when he was a teenager. Which is pretty cool. You make something from your childhood and you make it happen in a show. That's a lot of things. Like people like say like get one man caves when they're older, like have TVs everywhere, just games everywhere. Just having fun, basically make it a place where you want to go and hang out. That's what he did, but in a show. David Bluth, actually don't, because I don't remember who. So David Bluth, when casting the original crew, reached out to David Cross. They had him in the mind for the youngest Bluth brother, which is Buster. Which is the one who lives with the mom basically the entire show. And but after he read the role to Tobias, wait, that's actually really cool that David Bluth is his real name, and he didn't even get casted for a Bluth family member, which is kind of funny. He got casted for Tobias, who's the son-in-law, and that was the role for him because it just it fit him apparently for them. And so I'm gonna read out as I've been doing. So fans didn't like season 4 formatting, which again I didn't watch the show until it actually was on Netflix. I actually saw it a bunch of times on Netflix, and I just decided not to watch it. I didn't really hear anything about it, so I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So I just held it off for a while. But yeah, so when season 4 initially landed on Netflix, it was an extremely different format where they actually wrote eat instead of each. Each episode focused on a different character. This is because most of the actors schedules didn't allow them to film together. Due to some backlash, some fans of the show Netflix recut the season, and they decided to basically just make it the same as the previous seasons, and they just had to make the episodes shorter. So yeah, that was some very interesting facts about the show Arrested Development. So yeah, of course, I'm even reading these before I come on here. I'm very shocked sometimes about like what they are, and like me remembering who the characters are, and I'm like, wow, that's actually crazy that they did that instead of this. This is what I always talk about, behind the scenes stuff you'll never actually know about. So yeah, that's it, and I'll of course have more shows and movies to talk about here. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.